Welcome, everyone, to From the Ground Up. We are a Grit Daily sponsored podcast all about entrepreneurs and the companies that they're building and the differences they're making in the world and advice for entrepreneurs on how they can run their businesses better. And today I'm joined by Daniel. How do you pronounce your last name? Is it Daoura?
Yes, exactly. Daniel Daoura.
Daoura, great. Tell us all about you and your company.
John, thank you so much for having me on your podcast, From the Ground Up. I love the theme, as I mentioned earlier, of this show, and because it really resonates with my journey that we're going to talk about today. And it's about building something from nothing. And at Pebblebee, we've been tracking technology from an idea to a global solution that helps people and businesses find anything, anytime, from any device.
All right, yeah, I went to your website and I saw all sorts of different things. I saw stuff that can hang from a key, stuff that you can put in a binder. Give us sort of a rundown of your products and what they do for everyone out there.
Yeah, absolutely. The products are different form factors. They are clip, card, and tag. So depending on what you want to track and keep a tab on. And they also work with both ecosystems, the Apple Find My ecosystem network, as well as the Google's Find My device network. So it doesn't matter what ecosystem you're using, it works for you. It's seamless, it adds peace of mind, and helps you track what matters most.
Yeah, you are an aerospace engineer with Boeing. So tell us how that sort of informed where you're at right now, and sort of what's your vision for the industry as well, based on your experience.
I started my career at Boeing. It's been a while now, but specifically, I focused on designing advanced military asset tracking systems. These were very complex global solutions. It wasn't just for the US government. And it was to ensure real-time location tracking of mission-critical operations. So it was quite important. And what I realized is that the same need existed in everyday life for consumers. So people that lose things constantly, like wallets, keys, luggage, and even pets, and even businesses struggle with asset management too. So my vision is a seamlessly connected world where tracking isn't just reactive, but also intelligent, helping people and companies prevent losing things before it even happens. The key to our latest technology is the universal compatibility. As I mentioned earlier, tracking shouldn't be limited to whether you use Apple or Google. It should just work, right? We don't want people to even think about it. It just works. So that's why we built Pebblebee Universal, which is the first ever tracker company that has provided a solution that works across both Apple's Find My network as well as Google's Find My device network.
Yeah. How has that challenge been? I imagine that's been like a multi-year long project to try and make that work. Tell us a little bit about that, because there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there watching the show who are, dealing with big problems in the world or wanting to address big problems in the world. And maybe they don't even have a clue about how they can do that effectively. So talk to us
Yeah,
about how you met that big challenge.
yeah. I think I see two questions there. So how hard was it to build this business? That challenge from the ground up, as well as how challenging was it to deliver this tracking technology between Google and iOS? So for the first part, building Pebblebee from the ground up has been a roller coaster. It still is. It's still changing, and it started with a simple idea, as I mentioned earlier. How can we make tracking smarter, more efficient, and universally compatible? But executing that vision meant overcoming so many huge challenges, and it still is an evolving challenge. One of the toughest part was balancing innovation with scale, because I think from a perspective of a product developer and an innovator, but how do you balance innovation with scale, global scale? It's one thing to develop an amazing product, but another to manufacture, then distribute, and then get it into people's hands globally, and then recursively improve on that. So we went through everything, from raising capital, from actually starting from an idea to developing it, to proving it, to raising capital and navigating through supply chain disruptions and to breaking into major retailers like Best Buy, Costco, and Amazon. But scaling a global business comes with many complex challenges beyond just product development. It's also expanding into the globally into the world, like Europe and the UK and Japan, has been a massive undertaking, not just from a sales perspective, but also in handling global distribution, logistics, regulatory compliance. That's a big one. Managing sales tax in EU and UK is a nightmare. It's a huge challenge on its own. And then when you add also international shipping and fulfillment and localization, it becomes an entirely new layer of complexity. So despite all of this, I never lost sight of our mission, which is to give people peace of mind by helping them keep track of what matters most. And today, seeing millions of users worldwide benefit from Pebblebee makes every challenge worth it.
Yeah.
So, that's on building the business and how challenging it's been. It's definitely been very challenging. It's hard work. It's very hard work, but it's very rewarding. And part of that hard work is innovation and also making sure that there's value and benefit to the end user, which comes to that point of how challenging was it to work with Google and Apple in order to deliver this first universal tracking system. So Apple and Google have built obviously separate walled off tracking ecosystems, right? They don't talk to each other and they don't even have APIs for business to use.
Mm.
So if you're on Apple's world, you need Apple Find My compatible devices. And if you're on Android world, you need Google's Find My device trackers. And before Pebblebee Universal, there was no crossover. You had to commit to one or the other. And it was also a private network. There are others, and of course, Pebblebee was one of them. When we first created this business 11 years ago, we also had Android or iOS, but it wasn't Apple's network, which has billions of devices, same as Google. So we saw that problem recently over the last couple of years, and why should consumers be forced to choose, between one or the other when purchasing? So what if you have an iPhone, but your partner uses Android, and what if you switch devices? So we've solved that problem. We engineered Pebblebee Universal, which is a switchable SKU with switchable compatibility, allowing users to seamlessly switch between Apple and Google's tracking networks. This is huge, and it's been a huge technical challenge. But ensuring a single tracker could operate across two different ecosystems was something we wanted to accomplish. And we work closely with Nordic Semiconductor, who is our SoC system on chip technology provider that powers our devices today to make this happen. And so now, for the first time ever, users have true cross-platform tracking compatibility thanks to the innovation that Pebblebee has delivered about 7-8 months ago.
Ah, wow. Okay, so 7, 8 months in now. How did you have to? Well, there's a couple things I could ask, but I'm interested
Yeah.
in how, like, as far as how big is the company now? How big is your company? How big is your team?
We're almost 30 people today.
Yeah.
And we also have a lot of contractors and external support that helps through so many other challenges that we have to accomplish as a business. So we are growing. We've added about 5 individuals over the last year.
And you guys are based around the Seattle area. Um,
Mm-hmm.
how did you have to sort of maneuver? Did you have to have like a Google team and an Apple team, or to what extent were they integrated, or how does, or maybe you aren't at liberty to discuss, but how does that look? If not, I'll ask you what the app looks like. But yeah.
It's all about relationships, John, and we have definitely uh, uh, been very trustworthy. We take every requirement to heart. There are a lot of requirements working with big companies like Apple and Google. We're very fortunate and very appreciative of the fact that we have been able to work with both very large companies. We also work with other very large companies that I'm not able to disclose today, but it's been a challenge, but we're also very fortunate and appreciative of being able to have that position and being able to also coordinate between two large companies that sometimes they don't work with each other at all, and in some ways they work very close with each other, and it's been a challenge, but we've been able to maneuver through that landscape uh, based on one very strong pillar, which is a relationship. We have to always think of the future, always think long term. And if we have to take a hit temporarily in order for us to benefit long term as a relationship, that's the road we've taken. And that's been paying off quite a bit.
That's great. Yeah. So, as far as is it an is it typically an app that would let you switch back and forth between the say the Google and Apple? How does that work for the
Yes.
consumer?
So Apple has a native app. It's called the Find My app.
Yep.
It comes built into the operating system, and Google has a pseudo similar approach, which is the Find My device app. In order for you to switch between two ecosystems, because they don't work with each other, unfortunately today, it's either Apple or Google. And in order to switch, it's just a matter of removing it from that ecosystem. So if you're on Apple and you remove it from the Apple Find My app, it factory resets the device if it's locally there within the reach of the phone. And when it's factory reset, when you then double press on the device to start pairing, it then advertises on either ecosystem. So then you can pair it with either one, Apple or Google.
That's great. Well, so for 2025, what do you guys have planned going forward that you're excited about? And yeah, what are you thinking about in the next several months?
Yeah, so there's a lot going on. I think I'd like to start maybe even with some of the benefits of this tracking solution today, and then what are we doing in 2025? For consumers, it's really simple. Stop losing things. So our clip and card and tag trackers help people track whatever they want, whatever's matters to them. And then for businesses, tracking is a game changer as well because we've expanded into embedded solutions. So industries like sports, electronics, and automotive, I should say, and bikes and skis and golf are a big push for us. For example, we've partnered with Peak Ski, which integrates our technology into the skis, into the high-end ski equipment. We're also working with golf club tracking solutions, bikes, luggage, automotive integrations, and even tracking for power tools. So we're taking it a step further. Now we've done clip card tag, we've done embedded. We're taking it a step further with the Pebblebee Link and Link Up solutions, which are our next generation tracking technology designed for enterprises. Link is a simple scannable QR code, so it's a reverse reactive tracking solution for everyday objects. It's very inexpensive and it allows you to track anything really of high value items, or even having custom integrations with Link Up. And for 2025, it's shaping up to be a huge year for us. At CES and even at the MWC recently, we launched the Link, which I mentioned. It's a QR-based tracking solution. It's a privacy-first QR-based tracking solution, I should say. It's going to be available for sale soon in the next couple of weeks. Price point is starting at just about $8.99
Mm.
for a 5-pack. And we also introduced LinkUp, as I mentioned. It's a reactive tracking technology for businesses, so it's embedded. So it's an enterprise tracking and customer engagement solution. We also are incredibly excited about our creative collective program that we just launched. We're partnering with content creators, tech influencers, and everyday users to spread the word about Pebblebee Universal and how it's changing the world by the way of how we track. But the bottom line is now's the time to find and be found. That's our new marketing messaging. 2025 is all about expanding the ecosystem and continuing to innovate in ways that empower people and businesses alike. And I'd like to also add that our devices are all over the air updatable. What that means is that with a software update, you get more benefits. And so we do have a plan to release very innovative safety features later this year. So stay tuned.
Ah, very good. What A question I always like to ask is long term, what are some visionary sort of where do you see the space in 3, 4, 5 years, that kind of thing? Any thoughts in
Mhm.
that area?
Well, somebody asked me that question 10 years ago when I first started the business, and they said, where do you see this going? And I felt that at the end of the day, I want what's best for the consumer. The consumer is going to win at all times, right? Whatever the consumer really thinks they need and they want, that's what's going to happen. And so I've always felt that the best approach to this is if Apple or Google or both ended up creating their own network, because that's just the ultimate solution, right? And it didn't even exist back then. It was 11 years ago when we started. And that's happened, right? And so that was the best news ever when Apple reached out to us saying, hey, we're thinking about getting into the space. And this was a few
Mm.
years ago. And I was just, I can't believe that this is happening, right? And the same thing happened with Google. And so I think that in 5 to 6 years from now, the vision from the beginning has always been to track what matters most, uh, no matter what the cost. So I believe that in the future, anything that you can think of can be trackable. And so if you ever lose anything at any point in time, anywhere globally, you'll be able to see it and find it and locate it and retrieve it. So I think that's the future. It's going to get there. Uh, it's going to make our lives so much easier and better and more efficient, not just from a perspective of wanting to find something, but also efficiency in terms of, hey, instead of losing something and, oh, okay, I'm going to buy another piece, there's a lot of waste in that. There's a lot of shipping, logistics waste, time waste. And so we get to combat inefficiency in that way. So I think that's where the future is, and we're going there and we're heading there. We're innovating, continuously innovate to be able to achieve that. Today, we can't do it, but we're getting there. With technology improvements and innovation, we're going to get there.
Is Pebblebee the first company that you started working on after you finished at Boeing, or did you? What was that transition like? I always like to add.
Yeah.
So often with founders like you, it ends up being a case of working for corporate in some fashion and saying, you know
Mm-hmm.
what, to heck with this or whatever. I'm moving on to my own passion. What's that
Mm-hmm.
story like for you? If you want to talk about it for just 30 seconds, a minute, something.
Yeah, sure. It's been about uh, switching from consuming to creating. So I used to go to stores anywhere in a grocery store and pick things and consume, right? And then one day I thought, well, what if, what's the story behind this product that was manufactured, created? I never thought that way, right? And so I got my MBA and I got the tools I needed. And I've been very fortunate at Boeing to learn everything that I had learned. And I was enrolled into going after what I really believed in. And I really believed in myself. That's the number one thing you have to accomplish, is to believe in yourself, because that's the number one thing that if you don't believe in yourself, you're never going to take that step. So you really got to believe in yourself. Take that, make that plunge, jump into committing into what you're passionate about and what you want to learn about. And it's okay to fail. You have to be okay to fail in order to take that step. Doesn't mean it's okay to fail, but it's kind of like you have to be willing to fail in order to succeed. And so for me, it was just that step. And there were so many situations, thousands of situations where I failed and I could have quit. But that's the number one thing, is you have to have perseverance. You have to believe in yourself and you have to have perseverance, and you have to have passion in what you're doing so that you keep going. We've been in business for 11 years and it's been incredible, right? So, yeah.
Onward and upward. Yeah, going to keep on going and scale new heights. I am sure. Daniel Daoura of Pebblebee. Tell us how they can find you, how they can reach you if they don't know already.
Yeah, John, this has been an awesome conversation. Thank you so much for having me on the From the Ground Up podcast. To everyone listening, if you want to track your essentials with one tracker that works across Apple and Find My and Google Find My device, check out Pebblebee Universal on pebblebee.com. If you're a business looking for embedded solutions, let's connect. Reach out, follow me on LinkedIn and for latest updates. Thanks again, John. I can't wait to see where Pebblebee goes next.
Me too. I'm going to be, making a purchase decision around Pebblebee in the future myself.
Let's go.
All right. Take care. Great to have you on the show.
Thank you, John.